Well, here we are, probably in the last video of Chapter 5, but who knows, I may do another one. And it's interesting because we're going to start off with something where I pretty vehemently disagree with the book. Book starts off, look at that first bullet. Most frequently implemented, or least frequently implemented, is security awareness, but most effective security methods. I have to tell you, I disagree. Security awareness is this idea that you want people to be aware of issues involving security. So you give out trinkets, you put out posters, you do those types of things to raise awareness. It does set the stage for training, and training sets the stage for education. It does, at the most primitive of levels, remind users of procedures to be followed, because it's got to be captured in some little half sentence or something, in a poster or on a trinket, think security, that sort of stuff. So again, just think about it. If you've got a nation state attacking you, if you've got organized crime attacking you, is a poster really going to be that effective? No, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not. Maybe back in the 80s this was true. It's not true now. Education. Education. You have to change how your employees think about the world and how they relate to security, and they have to have some basic understanding of how folks are conducting attacks. All right, well, there we go. We started with a disagreement. Hopefully you understand why security awareness is important, but not nearly as important as training, and not nearly as important as education based on the threat that we have today. Okay, let's go on, and I'll go ahead and flip the slide here and look at some other components of security awareness. So, security awareness, again, this idea that you want to make people aware that security is important and aware of the processes that they should be following. Again, it's all based on people, is how this slide starts out, and you're right. You don't want to use technical jargon. People get lost in that. You want to keep it very light, not overload people, and just help them understand what they're supposed to do with InfoSec. And again, sounds wonderful when days were much simpler. Days are not much simpler. Days are much more complex, and the attacks are much more complex. And so awareness, important, not as important as other components. Take advantage of your in-house media. Do plan it. And you want to have that information out in time as it's rolled out. So let's look at some other components here. Here are the 10 commandments of security awareness. Now, it's interesting. You've got 10 commandments of security awareness, but you don't have 10 commandments of training and education. It's an indication that this is an older idea because it's more mature. They've had more time to work on it. So I'll let you look through these. That first bullet and second bullet to kind of talk to the previous slides about people. You want them to understand it. You got to get it out there so they can see it. Humor is important because you're trying to capture their attention as they're kind of walking by, and there are 100 posters on the wall. Let's go on to the other parts. First bullet again goes back to, this has got to be short and very pithy. It cannot be long. You don't have that much. You're not going to write a paragraph. You're going to write a sentence. So you have to make the point, support it, conclude it all within one sentence or two sentences. I always like that third bullet, ride the tame horses. In other words, emphasize those things that people have a grasp on. But again, so you're not going to be talking about zero-day attacks, because the awareness isn't going to be effective in those zero-day attacks. Formalize your training methodology we talked about earlier. Here we go. The idea is to modify behavior. It's only going to modify it at a very primitive level, so there are some limitations here, like choosing good passwords. I mean, that may be some subject of a security awareness, or protect your password. Again, social engineering may be a subject, but again, you're going to have to do it on a pretty superficial level. Effective training and awareness SATA programs are going to make employees accountable for their action. Yep, if you don't have top cover on this and have people covering you, then you are going to run into some challenges. That enforcement of policy is going to be, you want to demonstrate it, actually have some sacrificial lambs, if you will, if you go along, to make sure that people are following it, or otherwise people are not going to pay attention to your particular policy, procedure, or standard. Sounds a little Machiavellian, doesn't it? It's not meant to be Machiavellian, but it is meant that you want to be serious about this, and you don't want the security program ignored. There are lots of different ways of doing this. We're going to go in real quick and look at some different ways of looking at these videos, posters, banners. Computer-based training is actually training, not awareness, but okay. Lectures and conferences are typically training and awareness. They're not, or I'm sorry, training and education. They're not awareness. Newsletters are a form of awareness. Brochures, trinkets, bulletin boards are all examples. Security newsletter is a good way to get information out and make people aware of what's going on within your organization. You want to make this where it's a routine action that occurs periodically, that they can look at it and understand what's going on in security, a calendar of security events, so that folks can see when new events are going to occur. Here's an example of a newsletter. If you Google on the web or Bing on the web, you can find tons of these out there. Posters are another way of doing this. They can be very expensive if you go professional, but if you do them in-house, pretty much anybody can do them with modern software. Here again are some examples, but again, there are tons on the web. You may want to copy down some of the ones that are out there first before you start building your own. Trinkets, very inexpensive, can be used. Can also give the sense that you've got lots of money in your organization and you're just a trinket shop. So you've got to be a little bit careful there on balance. But again, there are lots of things that are out there that have been handed out and used. The question is, will people really use them? And again, here are some examples. Again, there are tons out there on the web that you can see as you're going along. All right, websites can be set up for doing security awareness. These typically are flash-based, but they don't have to be. Again, you can do newsletters through websites. They are effective in making people aware if they go to the website, or you can build it in as a sidebar off of your main organization website. Just some tips. These are all normal, and again, in this era, most people are aware of, hey, these are the things that annoy me on websites. You just got to think about those things as you're building the website. And then finally, you can have a security awareness conference and have a guest speaker come in. We tend to do these in October and April because that's when National Computer Security Days are. All right, well, believe it or not, we've just covered security awareness. Remember, this is one of those things where I disagree with the book. The book says, hey, most effective, least implemented. It's least implemented because it's not most effective against a nation state and against a organized crime unit. Now, having said that, do keep in mind that it is a component, and you don't want to completely not do awareness. I would just tell you to weight your efforts towards the training and the education these days. And if you had to pick one of the three, I'd go with education. You want people to be able to think about security within that space. All right, well, that concludes Chapter 5. Onward and upward to Chapter 6.